What if the single most powerful force shaping your peace of mind wasn't external events, but something hidden that most people never fully grasp? What if it was the quality of your own thoughts? This isn't just a motivational idea. It's a profound principle rooted in ancient Stoic philosophy. You've likely experienced it, the mental fatigue, after an interaction with someone who seems to drain your energy, twist your words, or dismiss your feelings. You walk away caught in a mental loop, questioning yourself. What if you could develop a mental framework so resilient that no amount of external negativity could touch your inner calm? This isn't a fantasy. It's a trainable skill, refined over 2,000 years ago by a man who faced more political betrayal, battlefield horrors, and personal loss than most of us can imagine. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He was not just a ruler, but a philosopher who used a practical set of techniques to remain in control and unshaken. Today, we're diving into the secret of that mental strength. Some of you watching might feel skeptical. You might think, can just changing my thoughts really change my experience with difficult people? I get it, but I encourage you to stick around, because what we're discussing will challenge your assumptions and open your mind to the incredible power you already possess. Section 1. Practice emotional detachment. The first, and perhaps most crucial principle, is to practice emotional detachment. Now, this doesn't mean becoming cold or unfeeling. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about becoming so aware of your inner world that you can observe your emotions without being controlled by them. Toxic individuals are often adept at pushing emotional buttons. They feed on reactions, anger, frustration, or hurt, because your reaction signals that their behavior is having an effect. Emotional detachment is the practice of not providing that reaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, The Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the core of the Stoic concept known as the dichotomy of control. It teaches a simple but transformative truth. Some things are within our control, and some are not. The words, actions, and intentions of another person are firmly outside of your control. You cannot force them to be rational, kind, or fair. The moment you accept this, you stop wasting energy on the impossible. Instead, you turn your focus inward to the one area where you have absolute authority, your own response. So, how do we apply this? When a difficult comment comes your way, the first step is to pause. Before reacting, create a space. In that space, observe the emotion arising within you. Is it anger? Is it confusion? Acknowledge it, but don't act on it impulsively. Remind yourself, their behavior is a reflection of their character, not my worth. This isn't just an affirmation. It's the active construction of your own mental clarity. Section 2. Respond with calmness and indifference. Once you've created that internal space, the next step is to respond with deliberate calmness and, when appropriate, indifference. Some individuals thrive on drama and high-voltage emotions. When you respond with anger, you are engaging on their terms. When you argue, you are participating in a dynamic that drains your energy. The Stoics offered a more powerful alternative. Marcus Aurelius gave himself this advice: "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy. If their approach is chaos, your response is tranquility." By refusing to mirror their emotional state, you not only protect your own peace, but you render their tactics ineffective. A manipulator without an emotional reaction from you has lost their leverage. This can feel counterintuitive. Our instinct is often to defend ourselves or correct falsehoods. But consider this: What does arguing with an irrational person truly accomplish? They are often not interested in truth. They are interested in control. So, what does a calm response look like? It often involves short, neutral, and unemotive statements. Phrases like, "I see," or "I will have to consider that," or "I understand that is your perspective." These phrases acknowledge that you have heard them without validating the negativity or escalating the conflict. In many cases, the most powerful response is strategic silence. It communicates that the conversation is not worthy of your energy. Walking away is not a retreat. It's a victory for your own well-being. Section 3. Set firm boundaries. Emotional detachment and calm responses are your shield, but firm boundaries are the walls of your inner citadel. The inner citadel is a Stoic concept Marcus Aurelius wrote about, referring to the peaceful, rational, and fortified part of your mind that no external chaos can breach. Without boundaries, even the strongest person can be worn down. Difficult people will often take as much of your time and energy as you are willing to give. Setting a boundary is simply defining what behavior you will and will not accept, and then communicating it calmly and clearly. It isn't a request. It's a declaration of how you expect to be treated. This can be one of the most challenging steps for empathetic or conflict-averse individuals, but it is also one of the most liberating. How do you do this effectively? First, be clear with yourself about what your non-negotiables are. For example, I will not participate in conversations where I am being yelled at, or I will not discuss my personal decisions if they are met with constant criticism. Once you are clear, you must communicate the boundary. A simple, firm statement is more powerful than a long, dramatic speech. I am not going to continue this conversation while you're raising your voice. Or, this topic is not up for discussion. The key is to state the boundary and, if necessary, the consequence. If you continue to speak to me this way, I will leave the room. The final and most critical part is to follow through. When the boundary is tested, and it will be, you must enforce it. This action teaches the other person that your boundary is real. Every time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce the walls of your inner citadel. Section 4. Focus on your own virtue. This next principle represents a profound shift in perspective. Instead of viewing a toxic person as an adversary, the Stoics saw them as a training partner for your own character. Every frustrating interaction becomes an opportunity to practice virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This gets to the heart of the matter. You cannot control another person's character, but you can always control your own. Their behavior becomes a test, and the test isn't about them, it's about you. Will you respond with impatience or with patience, with anger or with wisdom? This transforms the dynamic. You are no longer a victim of their behavior. You are a student of life, using their difficult nature to develop your own character. Their toxicity becomes the resistance that makes you stronger, just as a weightlifter uses heavy weights to build muscle. So, how do you apply this mindset? Before you interact with a known difficult individual or in the middle of a tense conversation, ask yourself a different set of questions. Instead of, "Why are they doing this to me?" ask, "Who do I want to be in this moment?" Instead of, "How can I make them stop?" ask, "How can I respond to this with courage and moderation?" This shift is incredibly empowering. It moves your focus from the external, which you cannot control, to the internal, which you can. Section 5. Practice negative visualization. One of the most misunderstood but powerful Stoic tools is the practice of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This is not pessimism, it is strategic preparation. A fire department doesn't expect a fire every day, but it trains constantly so that when one does occur, the response is calm and effective. Negative visualization is your emotional fire drill. Marcus Aurelius began his days with a famous meditation. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." This may sound bleak, but he continues by explaining why they are this way. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. And most importantly, he brings it back to himself. "But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and so none of them can hurt me." By anticipating this behavior, he stripped it of its power to shock or disturb him. When you expect a difficult person to act in a difficult manner, their behavior is no longer a painful surprise. It's a confirmation of what you already prepared for. Here is how to apply it. Before a meeting or gathering where you know a toxic person will be present, take a moment to visualize the interaction. Imagine them saying the kinds of things they typically say. Then, rehearse your ideal response. See yourself practicing detachment, responding calmly, and holding your boundaries. This mental rehearsal desensitizes you to the emotional impact and strengthens the neural pathways for your desired response, making it easier to remain composed in the moment. Section 6. Choose your battles wisely. Not every provocation requires a response. A core tenet of Stoicism is the preservation of your most valuable resources, your energy and attention. A toxic person will often try to draw you into an endless series of meaningless conflicts, draining your energy until you have none left for what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius was a master of this principle. He wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This is a powerful filter. It teaches you to engage only when it serves a genuine purpose aligned with your values. Arguing with a toxic person rarely does either. Applying this requires a conscious assessment of the situation. When you feel the pull to engage, to defend yourself, or to correct a lie, ask yourself a simple question: is this worth my inner peace? Most of the time, the answer will be no. By refusing to participate, you are making a choice to invest your energy elsewhere in your work, your health, or your personal growth. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You are choosing to preserve your peace, which is always more valuable than winning a meaningless battle. Section 7. Cultivate inner peace through self-awareness. All of these external tactics are built upon a foundation of internal self-awareness. If you don't understand your own triggers and emotional patterns, a manipulative person may exploit them. The Stoics were pioneers of self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Your inner world shapes your outer experience. Self-awareness is the act of understanding your own mind and learning to manage its contents. One of the most effective tools for this is journaling, a practice central to Marcus's own life. His book, Meditations, is his private journal. After a difficult interaction, take time to write about it. Explore your reaction. What did I feel? What specific word or action triggered me? What story did I tell myself about the situation? This practice is like reviewing footage after a game. You identify your patterns not to criticize yourself, but to learn and improve. You may realize you are particularly vulnerable to a certain type of criticism, or that you react defensively when feeling unheard. This awareness is your key to freedom. By shining the light of self-awareness on your own mind, you become an active participant in your own emotional life, rather than a passive reactor to someone else's dysfunction. Section 8. Become emotionally independent. The final and most profound step is to achieve emotional independence. This is the ultimate checkmate. Many toxic dynamics are built on codependence, where we unconsciously seek approval or fear disapproval. We overgive and people please, hoping that if we just try hard enough, the other person will finally give us the respect we crave. This is a trap. The Stoics taught that our self-worth must be internal, based on our own character and judgment. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." A life dependent on the validation of an unstable person is not truly living. Emotional independence means you stop outsourcing your self-esteem. You become the source of your own validation. You learn to trust your own judgment and live by your own values, regardless of external approval. When a toxic person offers a backhanded compliment, the backhanded part has no sting because you don't need the compliment part. When they threaten disapproval, it has no weight. This is cultivated by investing your energy back into yourself. Pursue hobbies that bring you joy. Spend time with people who support you. Practice self-respect by holding your boundaries. The moment you no longer need anything from a toxic person is the moment they lose all power over you. You are free, not because they changed, but because you have made yourself independent of their ecosystem. Conclusion. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius provides a profound toolkit for building an unshakable inner resilience. It begins with emotional detachment. By understanding you have power over your mind, not outside events. It continues with responding with calmness and indifference, refusing to fuel the drama. You fortify your peace by setting firm boundaries, teaching others how you will be treated. You transform every interaction by focusing on your own virtue, using challenges as an opportunity for character development. You arm yourself through negative visualization, preparing for difficulty to reduce its shock. You preserve your energy by choosing your battles wisely. You strengthen this foundation through self-awareness, becoming the master of your inner world. And finally, you achieve true freedom by becoming emotionally independent. These are not just tactics. They are the building blocks for a life of tranquility and self-command. By integrating these principles, you do more than just manage a difficult person. You reclaim your mind, protect your peace, and build a strength so deep that no external chaos can disturb your inner calm again. The path to inner peace is a practice. It requires patience and consistency, but with these Stoic tools, you are now equipped to walk that path with confidence. I encourage you to reflect on these ideas. Your journey could inspire someone else to begin their own. Thank you for joining me today.